Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this week's webinar. So guys, this week what we're going to be discussing is everything about inventory. So the previous weeks we've discussed customers, we've discussed suppliers, and now we're doing inventory. And inventory is very important. If you do make use of stock, there are certain things that you can do that can actually help you with your reporting. So in order to set up inventory, the first place that we're going to start is the setup inventory. You will need sole access mode, which will mean that no other users or any other windows can be open. You can be the only person in the company, and you need to have everything closed before you can go into the setup. Once you've gone into the setup, you have a number of tabs depending on the version of Sage Pastel Accounting you're running, be it Express or Partner. Partner comes with certain add-on modules. For example, multi-stores, serial number tracker, and bill of materials, which will directly affect your inventory. And you will have your configuration, your integration groups, your user-defined fields, and your other. So in your configuration, Partner allows you to have 10 price lists, whereas Express only allows you 3. And you can change the price list. So normally they're called price lists 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 10 or up to 3. This is where when setting up your company in the Setup Assistant, if you didn't actually name them, you can come here and then change the names of those descriptions. You can also set a maximum selling price, a maximum purchase price, a minimum gross profit percentage, a maximum cost difference percentage, a maximum line discount percentage, and a maximum invoice discount percentage. So depending on what you've set here, depends on whether you'll get certain warnings. So if, for example, you set your maximum selling price at 200 Rand, anything over 200 Rand, you're going to get an error. In this instance, we would advise that you set it to 9999999.00. The same for the maximum purchase price. But when it comes to the minimum gross profit, this can help to ensure that the people capturing your prices, etc., are actually entering them correctly, that there's not a user error where it's meant to be, for example, 29 or, something like that, and the incorrect thing is inputted. Digit is missing that you thought was there. So 429 suddenly becomes 49. It will be able to work out based on the last purchase price that this is a problem with the minimum gross profit percentage. And in that way, you will then have a double check, because it'll tell you, sorry, you have entered a price below the minimum gross profit percentage allowed. So it will generate a warning. Same with the maximum cost difference. Now, because you can't actually control the cost difference, it's up to you whether you want to put in a figure. If you do though, and you get a message that it is above or below the minimum cost difference, you will then need to come here to alter that. Your maximum line discount percentage, this ensures that you don't have staff members giving out line discounts or even invoice discounts past what you're prepared to give. So if you're only prepared to give 5%, you will put 5% here instead of 100 as I have it. So this just helps you control your sales and purchases. Then with your decimals, you can set your decimals for your company. However, that can be quite dangerous. Sorry guys, I didn't realize my email was still open. Let me just close it. So if you change your decimals by going to set up company configuration, if you want to change those back, it requires a data fix. However, if you change the decimals for your quantities, your cost price or your selling price, you can change them back. It doesn't actually affect your overall figures, because they will still be set to 2 decimals. But your quantity, for example, especially if you're working in kilograms, grams, liters, milliliters, you might actually require 4 decimals. You can set them up here and you can change them at any point. It does not require data fix to correct. And then you need to look at your processing. Now, guys, you can allow quantities to fall below zero, but this is very risky and can be quite damaging, especially if you tick the option, make average cost zero when zero is on hand. The reason that that'll be a problem is at the moment your quantity equals zero, the cost price will become zero. Every time you then process quantities that are below zero, you are going to have a cost price of zero. And that means that your gross profit is going to be horribly overinflated, and that is going to cause a lot of issues. So generally, your cost price will be frozen the moment your inventory goes below zero. So it's not going to work out the average cost until you have a positive quantity. So ticking this is quite tricky. I know that some people do want this ticked, but bear in mind that if you tick this, you may need to pass various journals to ensure that your books are actually correct. If you do tick this option, we then strongly advise that you do tick the option to warn if the inventory falls below zero. Again, the reason for this is because there's a knock-on effect. So guys, if you're using point of sale and your inventory's fallen below zero, point of sale actually ignores that warning, and it will go, well, the person can't give you a can of Coke if the Coke doesn't exist, if it's below zero. So it will then actually allow you to process that, and that happens even if you don't have this selected. So just something to bear in mind with point of sale. It uses logic that if there's physical stock, you can't sell that stock if it doesn't physically exist. So guys, you have those. Then sales orders reserve inventory and sales orders reserve serial numbers. So sales orders reserving inventory, especially if you do have back orders, that's a really great thing to tick. However, what you need to bear in mind then is that until you receive that stock, you can't sell anything. So if your sales orders reserve stock and your client hasn't come to fetch their stock yet, and it's sitting in a sales order, you can't convert it into an inventory item, you actually can't sell that stock until they've collected it. So it's up to you whether you want to allow that. It can help you actually manage your inventory really well, but it also can cause drawbacks if it is ticked. Sales orders reserve serial numbers. Now that's a really handy thing to have, especially if you are going to reserve the stock. The reason for that is that if the item is serialized and you've already given it to a customer, you don't want to have to then go and change that serial number at a later stage. If your sales orders are going to reserve inventory and you do use serial numbers, tick both. Then if you are using partner, there's an option here, check reorder level when processing. Now this can be very handy in managing your stock, because the moment that your inventory falls below the minimum, so if your minimum's 5, the moment it hits 4, you're going to get a warning. Listen here, your stock's running low, you need to order. So depending on your minimum and maximum levels, more your minimum, this is really handy to allow you, or as an early warning, that listen here, you're running low, you need to actually go and order. If you have sales orders reserving inventory, this is even better, because then you know exactly where you stand. Hang on, I've got a lot of stuff in sales orders. Either I need to follow up with those clients and delete those sales orders, or I need to order more stock. Then warn if preferred supply is not used. This ties in with the Reorder Assistant. So you would select a preferred supplier that you normally want to order your inventory from. And if you select a different supplier, it will just warn you. So maybe you've got a deal with your preferred supplier. They give you 5% off. And unfortunately, you've had to order from someone else. It'll warn you in case that's an error. And then, guys, you have your make average cost zero when zero is on hand. In my professional opinion, this should only ever be ticked if you are actually having to adjust your inventory cost of sales. This actually shouldn't be ticked for any other reason. You should only tick this if there's a problem. You have to take all your stock out because your average cost is wrong. It makes it zero, and when you bring your inventory back in, that cost price will be corrected. That is the only time. You tick this, take it out, come in here, untick it, and bring your inventory in. Ticking this is dangerous, and as I explained, especially if you're going to allow inventory to fall below 0. So guys, you need to understand what these are and the effects that they can have on your books. So guys, that's your configuration. Everything is really important. If need be, create a dummy company. And in that dummy company, play around, do weird things and see how it affects your books. But the explanations I've given you are basically the effect that ticking any of these options or changing them will have. Then you've got your integration groups. Now, guys, your integration groups is really important. Firstly, you need to decide, are you going to integrate your inventory to your general ledger or not? If it's not integrated, that means that you are going to have to process stock takes or do account inventory multiple times in the year in order for your books to be correct, because your inventory, the value of your inventory on hand, will not be being calculated every single time you either purchase or sell inventory items. So those are your two models, either being integrated or not being integrated. Then if it's going to be integrated, guys, either you can automatically allocate the costs to projects at time of sale, or you can allocate to projects yourself at time of purchase. So guys, this is again if you're using projects or project tracker. They are available in both Express and Partner. Express just has projects and it's a standard version. Project Tracker is available in Partner. And this is if you want to allocate those yourself. So guys, you either do it at the sale or you do it at the purchase. It's up to you which one. You can't do it at both. Then you've got your actual integration entry type, which is normally your inventory journal. And then, guys, you can have your groups. So generally, it's very simple. You've got services and inventory goods. Now, guys, that's great, but that doesn't really help you much with your inventory, especially if you have a lot of inventory. This is where you can break those groups up. If, for example, using bill of materials, you might want a raw materials. So here you'll go raw materials, and you will fill in all of your options. And here you might say finished goods and goods in progress. So, for example, your raw materials might need to be made into another product that you use in the finished goods. Those would be goods in progress. So, okay, I've got trees. Those trees become lumber. That lumber is goods in progress, and then that lumber I turn into doors and frames, which are my finished goods. Now, guys, the nice thing with having different, and you can use anything here. For example, if you're a restaurant, you can have entrees, you can have drinks, you can have main meals, that type of thing. Sandwich shop, you might want your specific sandwiches. Ham sandwich, chicken sandwich. And the only reason for that is you can see where your profits are going, especially if you're going to create sub-accounts. So if you are going to want to actually be able to see, hang on, where am I making my profits with my inventory? What am I wasting my money on? What should I actually be buying more of? The best way to do that is to go into your Edit General Ledger account. So I'm just going to cancel this for a moment. And guys, what you're going to do is for your cost of sales and your sales is you're going to create sub-accounts. So you can see the main account here is 1,000, add. The moment I do that, it's going to come up and tell me you're about to create your very first sub-account. Now, what's going to happen is the entire balance of the main account is going to go to the sub-account. And if you need to split that up, so hopefully you will do this in a new company. If you haven't and you want to try this, you're going to have to split up where that money is coming from. And basically, you then will have sub-accounts. So in these sub-accounts, for example, I will now say sales finished goods. Sales, goods in progress, sales. So are you guys with me at the moment? Guys, and you'll do the same here for your cost of sales, which is, in my case, 2,000. Again, yes, I understand the message. And cost of sales. Now, guys, this is just a really, this is the way that you can set it up so that you can get a lot more information when looking at your trial balance. Again, you can also choose. I just want to see my trial balance with main accounts. I don't care about all of this other stuff. Or you can go, listen here, I see that my inventory is looking pretty good. My costs and sales are looking pretty good. But I want to understand my financials better. And you include those sub-accounts. And you can very quickly see that, okay, I've been doing £1 million turnover in terms of my sales. But where did that million come from? Oh, wow. Actually, my chicken mayo sandwich seems to have the bulk of everything. And that ham sandwich, not so much. Maybe there's something wrong with it. Maybe I need to ask my clients. What do you like about the sandwiches? What don't you like? How can I make the ham sandwich better? That type of thing. So it can give you a lot of insight. So if we go back to our inventory groups, and guys, this will depend if you're integrated or not again, because if you're unintegrated, you can still have sub-accounts and you can have the same information. It's just you're probably not going to be able to drill down as well as if it's integrated, but you can do the same. But I prefer integrated. I think that it's a much better way and it's a quicker way at any point to know where you are without having to do a stock take. And I think I think that except for huge retail shops, most companies actually do run on an integrated model. It is up to you, but you can do it in either. I prefer integrated though. And guys, basically then here you can see that it's already changed that first one. You can do the same for your adjustments. You can do the same for even your inventory. So you've got your inventory control account, which is your straight inventory. Maybe you don't want that. Maybe you'd like even your inventory control account to be segmented. In the same way, you'd create sub-accounts. And then you create your groups and you would link them to those sub-accounts. So my finished goods would be linked to my finished goods sub-accounts. My ham sandwiches to my ham. Or if I'm doing regions, for example, so I've got Joburg, Pretoria, Cape Town. I don't want to use multi-stores. This is another way to see how your regions are doing. Unfortunately, if you are going to do regions that way, you're going to have multiple inventory items. Multi-stores allows you to actually link one item to multiple stores. It just does make it a bit easier. But guys, you can run it this way as well. So do you understand the importance of the integration groups and how they work? Do you need me to explain that in more detail? Guys, if you're happy, you can just say no questions or happy. If you have a question, please post it now in the chat or the Q&A. Okay, great. Guys, if a question comes up, I will just stop. Then, guys, you've got your user-defined fields. So normally it gives you 3 text fields and 3 numeric fields. All that you're doing here is you're just giving it a description. So there might be something specific in your inventory that you actually want captured. Instead of saying user-defined field 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you might want to put something in here. For example, bin number or some extra information that you require. And you can then actually call it that instead of user-defined field 1, 2, 3. When you actually create your inventory item, that is where you will enter it. So let's put here. Then guys, if you're on bill of materials, just so you know, this is here as a tab, but this is a webinar I will do separately where I will explain everything with bill of materials. I'm doing the basic everything about inventory. I am not doing add-on modules. So I'm going to skip that for now, but that is here. And then you've got your other. So guys, this is your defaults. When you create a new item, what inventory group do you want to fall under? What discount type do you want? Now the discount type, you can either have early payment discount or invoice discount, or you can have both. If you don't allow invoice discount, that means that on this item, irrespective of if you or your user puts a discount either as a line item discount or as an overall discount, it will not count. It ignores it completely. So if you only put early payment term, only if there's an early payment would allow discount. Otherwise, you can say none and no discount applies, or you can say both. So if you've ever seen, hang on, this discount isn't applying, chances are your discount type is wrong. Then your units, each, kg, liter, etc. Fixed description and cost. Now, guys, if you say fixed description and cost, this means that you will, when creating your item, need to actually enter a selling price, because it will be grayed out. You will not be able to change the description, nor will you be able to change the selling price or the cost. Show quantity and units. You can either tick to see this or not, and you can then either change while invoicing. This means that you can edit the line. You can edit the description. You can edit the cost. If you are using serial number tracker and partner, do you want it to be a serialized item always or not? Is it a physical item or is it more a service item? This would depend on what your business services provide. So are you service driven? Are you inventory driven? And your inventory can be service items, but are they physical? Are you selling actual stock, physical stock, or are you selling a service? And then, guys, again, if you're running partner, you'll have the option of use multi-stores. Once you've created your setup, you're then ready to create your inventory items. I'm going to run through it really quickly, guys, because I do want to get to the reports. And I see that we're already almost half an hour in just explaining the setup. So, guys, when you go to edit inventory, you can set up categories. This is where you can categorize your items. These are different to groups. So please don't mistake the two. Groups and categories are not the same. Groups are where it writes, which GL accounts it writes to. Categories are basically, this is a sandwich, this is a cold drink, and you can do your groups that way too. But those are your categories. Stores are if you're running multi-stores, and again, that's an add-on module I will go through in detail separately to this, but you can set up your stores here. Item file is where you will create your items and adjust selling prices. So you'll adjust selling prices once you've already set up your inventory. So if we go into the inventory, there again are multiple tabs. Some exist only in partner, for example, the reorder tab and the serial number tab. So guys, if you create an inventory item, your code can be 15 characters. I think it's 15. Yeah, it's 15. So your code can be 15 characters long. Please only alphanumeric. Please don't put any special characters, guys. It's going to cause a problem. So only alphanumeric. It's either completely alpha, completely numeric, or a combination of the two. No special characters, no at, no exclamation mark, no hash, no double inverted commas for inches, nothing. Your description, again, alphanumeric, please. Guys, I know, especially with inventory, a lot of people, oh dear, I broke something, my apologies. I'll go in quickly again. Sorry, guys, that's because I was counting and I removed something, so it gave me a runtime error 5, subscript out of range. So basically, I checked and went, well, you don't fall within what I should, and that's why that error came up. It shouldn't actually have broken anything. Technically, it was subscript out of range. Okay, so guys, here again, please don't use for inches. I know that it is the universal sign for inches. Unfortunately, Excel really doesn't like it. So if you have to export anything to Excel, which is the norm in Sage, the double inverted commas actually tell it to skip columns. So a single inverted comma actually means skip in Excel. So a double inverted comma means that it skips 2 columns. And that's why often when you're trying to import, it tells you that your layout is incorrect. Don't use it, rather than put, or just know 15 is inches. So you'll enter a description, and then you need to select your inventory group. So this is where your inventory group is really important. Which inventory group does this fall under? Your discount type, if you want to enter a barcode, you can enter it here. You can enter the bin number here. So bin number is just where it's stored in a warehouse. Your unit, each, kg, etc. Commodity code, this is more for point of sale, and the net mass. So this is in point of sale if you're going to use special barcodes. Then you need to allow tax and your purchases and sales default tax. Guys, your customers and your suppliers overwrite whatever your inventory is set to, just so you know. Unless it's the other way around. Sorry, I'll need to double check that now that I think about it. To my knowledge, your customers and suppliers default tax does overwrite your inventory default tax, but I will need to double check it. Again, we've explained fixed description, change while invoicing, show quantity and unit. And is this a sales commission item? So you might have items where you don't want to pay commission on. Sorry, if you sell it, you're not getting commission, not happening. You untick that option. If you tick this option, then it means that the sales rep will get their commission on it based on how you set up their commission. Is it a physical item? If it's a physical item, is it a serialized item? Or is it a service item? Guys, your cost prices here, don't touch them. It'll do that automatically for you. Your prices, this is where you enter your prices per price list. Very straightforward. Your special prices, this is where you can put in a special price. Maybe you're having a sale, and you can then put where it applies to and from. So for the month of September, this is on 10% special. There we go. It means that instead of you having to remember that and enter the sales price, this price for that period will overwrite any of the prices here. Your Reorder Assistant, this is where you will put your preferred supplier and your supplier's inventory code. Then your minimum and your maximum, and it will tell you how much you have on hand on sales order and purchase order. This tab is only available in Partner. You'll use the define fields, and here you will see test 1. So again, instead of not knowing what I want to put in here, if I've changed those descriptions in the setup, I know exactly what information I'm looking for. My activity, this will show me what's happening, the last time it was purchased, my adjust quantities, my sales, quantity on hand, average cost. My notes, if I need to make notes on this item, maybe I bought from a new supplier, please don't order again, quality really shabby, whatever, I can put notes, or, supplier mentioned this is going to happen at this time, please don't order, or please order more, whatever you need a note on. And then you can take a picture, a JPEG or a bitmap is fine. Just bearing in mind that does make your folder for your company much larger. And you can put that here. And then if you're using Partner, serial number, your serial numbers will be listed here. So guys, if I had to check, So for example, here you can see the activity. So guys, does anyone have any questions on how to create items and the importance of every tab? Because it's really important to do your inventory properly, especially if you are using a lot of inventory. You're not processing to a GL, which in most cases a lot of people don't do anymore. Please make sure it's set up correctly. Just want to double check. Okay, so guys, we seem okay. Then guys, what we want to talk about, which I think most people, this is what they really want to know about, is the reporting side of things. A lot of people know how to set up stuff, and you might have learned one or two little things from what I told you, but generally, most people are like, yeah, I'm good with that stuff. It's when it comes to what reports to run and why we run them. So guys, your reorder is that simple. You're running the Reorder Assistant. You want to see what was reordered, when, where, and how. There's nothing major about it. This will always come up irrespective of if it is a cash book batch, a sales order, a cash book batch, an invoice, customer invoice, a supplier invoice, a return and debits, a journal. So it doesn't necessarily mean that the figures will be wrong, because you could be dealing with a cash book entry. You can click on yes. It will take you so that you can double check if it is going to affect you. In this case, there's a possibility of that. If you know what's there and what period you're looking for, it probably won't. And that's the only reason to check the open batches. Hang on, there's an open batch. Did I not update something? Do I need to? Then you've got your output option. Guys, this is where you want to view the information. Screen, printer, Excel, Word, HTML, email, ASCII, which is a TXT file, and PDF. The from store to store is only there if you're using multi-stores. Inventory sort order. So you can view this by code, description, category, bin or barcode. The same things that you do your count inventory on. You can then give your start and end. You can give a range, or you can select everything by leaving the start as blank and the end filled with Zs. Then you need to select your period. Now, guys, something important to realize here, this is a period-driven report. So if your dates are wrong, it doesn't matter. If you process March and August, it's going to come up because it was processed in the period of August. So this is a period-driven report, your supplier start and end. Do you want to include 0 minimum reorder items? Do you want to include sales order quantities? Do you want to include 0 quantities to order items? So it's just your filters, and then it will produce the report. So you can see, okay, do I need to reorder? What's happening? What is it telling me? Has stuff fallen below? And this report will tell you, look, this is everything you need to reorder. Yeah, it's really important you do that right now, depending again on your filters. So include 0 quantities to order items. No. Include 0 minimum reorder numbers. No, I want to see exactly what I need to reorder. Okay, this is what I need to reorder. I need to reorder 7 based on how I set up my Reorder Assistant. If I know this is wrong, I might not have set up the Reorder Assistant. So guys, depending on what you select, don't select anything if you actually want to see what you have to order. Then the next thing that we've got is the activity summary. So guys, this is the same thing that you actually see on your edit inventory where it says activity. These two should line up. So it's going to show you your purchases, your adjustments, your sales, your on hand, your unit cost, and your sales. That's all that it's showing you. This is what happened in here. There was an adjustment of 15 for this. You have 26 on hand. That's the unit cost. And it will give you a running all the way through. So it'll show you your purchases and it will show you your adjustments. If there's something in unposted, that would mean that there's probably a batch that hasn't been updated. If you see unposted and every batch has been updated, you need to run a stock fix. Something has gone a little bit hinky, and it just hasn't cleared the fact that the batch has been updated. Running a stock fix will not break anything, but make sure that you have a backup before you run the stock fix. Then, guys, your history, you can view your item sequence or your chronological per item. Now, guys, your item sequence, again, you've got your filters. So what do you want to search by? Inventory category, inventory group. From store to store, your inventory code and start. And guys, here, important, date-driven report. Anything that happened in August is going to, with August date, is going to show up, even if I processed it out of period. This is where a period-driven report and a date-driven report may differ. So I view this report against, say, a different report that is period-driven. If there's a difference, I probably have out of period processing. Transaction type. Now, this is where you can check your transactions. Okay, I feel something's wrong with my tax invoices. Why? Let me go investigate. Let me have a look. Or you can view for everything to do with inventory. Do you want to see the inventory details or not? And do I want to print my descriptions? So I've selected everything. Okay, sorry guys. I thought that I had processed in August. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to do this. This is not helpful for out of period processing, just so you know, because it's going to show me everything that's happened. Sorry guys, I might have cleared this company. I did have an issue a little while back. I do apologize. But basically, it will give you certain information. I'm so sorry, guys. HB. And I think that, there we go. That was my problem. So here you'll see that it's giving me a breakdown per the inventory item. Here the tax invoices are. Here all the goods received notes are. Here my inventory journals are. And at the end of the day, this is my quantity with all of the adjustments that have been made. If I rerun that and I turn off the show inventory details, this is all that it's going to show me. It's going to go, here's your quantity, here's your unit cost, here's your total cost, here's your total selling done. So guys, you can see this doesn't tell me very much, especially if I actually want to understand what's happening. It's better if I, and oh, that's what happened. Sorry about that. It's better if I actually advise that I want to see the details. Now guys, this is just the one report, and that you view by item sequence. So it's showing you by the sequence of items. The chronological per order actually shows you how it got, for example, to the average cost. The first one doesn't. So if you're trying to work out your average cost, it's not going to work. Here, you do, however, need to select an item. So this is not a report that you can go, okay, I want to see every inventory item. The other one is for you to have a look. If you see a problem, this is where you'll come to the chronological sequence and you'll go, okay, I saw that there's a problem. I don't get why it's doing that. Let me have a look. And here we'll actually tell you, okay, these tax invoices happened before the goods received notes were even received. Then we had more tax invoices. Then there was a return and debit. Then eventually we did the inventory. So you can see that the dates are different. But this actually tells me that a lot of this happened after this. You can backdate inventory journals to March, even after you've processed in August, but it will have a profound effect on your average cost. So I processed this 3 days ago, but I backdated it. But all of this happened before. So guys, this is just stuff to keep in mind, that this is how everything was actually processed. And that can have an effect on the actual average cost because of how it was processed. Just because the dates show something does not mean that is the sequence that it was run in. Does that make sense? So this is the report you'll come to normally if there's a problem with the average costing. To actually see why. Did you process an invoice before you brought in stock? Did it fall below zero? Oh, also, if there's a problem with if there's a problem with the average cost, but as well as if your cost of sales is out, this is also where you'll come. If you processed a tax invoice allowing your stock to fall below zero, this is also where you can see that. In this case, however, you would then rerun this from, for example, the 1st of the 1st, 1980. Sorry. And the only reason for that is to get a really good grasp of what happened. As you can see, this company is a fairly new company and was only opened this year. But you can see that basically the sequence of events that caused it to work out the way that it did. So guys, just something to keep in mind. This is where you come to my cost of sales is wrong, what happened? And my average cost is wrong, what happened, why, where did things happen? Then serial numbers, guys, I will take you through that when I do the serial numbers one. Then you've got your quantities report. This is just very quickly for you to see what quantities you have on hand. But something to bear in mind is that this is a period-driven report. So guys, for example, we're in September. If I want to see what quantities I have for September, and I'm going to leave it as is because it's selecting everything. I'm only on the 6th of September. If I have processed, for example, a counter inventory on the 15th of September, I've future dated it for whatever reason, it's not going to pick up, it'll pick up those quantities here. But if I now go, hang on, okay, I have 70, great, but 50 of those are actually in, for example, a supplier invoice that I'm putting on the 15th, or a goods received note that I've put for the 15th. If I now go and try to sell 50 of those, I'm going to get a message going, I don't have enough stock. That's going to confuse me. The only reason it's going to confuse me is because this is period driven. This is, again, where you need to drill down. And this is where dates are important. So you can go, oh, wait, the goods received note is for the 15th. Of course I don't have stock on hand. Why did I select the 15th? It was meant to be the 5th, for example. So guys, period-driven report will show you as at the 31st of September. So it'll show you everything that's been processed in September, whether it's future dated, before your system date or not, it's going to include it. You get that warning message, drill down, double check your date. Slow moving. Now this is a date method or a fixed quantity method. So guys, in the date method, you can say, okay, if I haven't sold anything, 1st of the 1st, for example, then it'll generate a report and go, okay, this is when this was last sold. It's been a while. So I've basically told it to put everything. So I'm like, anything not sold from here, basically, don't include anything from here up. Anything from here down is a problem for me. That's date driven. So if you, for example, you want to know anything that wasn't sold from the 1st of the 8th. No, sorry guys. Then it'll generate a report. I can see, okay, sure. The last time I sold this was in May. Is this a slow moving item? What's happening? And those are items that then I may want to either remove from sale or I might want to just order less of. So it's obviously very niche. It's not something people request a lot. Your slow moving fixed quantities, this is where you can say, okay, I need to know all items that have sold less than 3 for the month of August, for example, again. Because then is it worth me having? Guys, obviously I don't work in this company a lot, so everything's coming up, but this way I can go, okay, this is a problem. These are my problem items. Why am I not selling anything? And again, you can either ask your clients their opinions, what things don't they like, what things do they like, or you can see, okay, it's niche, it's something that not a lot of people would want, so I don't order a lot of it. Or I remove it completely. Obviously, it's not what people want. Your inventory valuation, this just gives you your valuation at a specific time. So this is the monetary value of the stock you have on hand. That's what a valuation is. You can use last cost if you like, or you can use the average cost. It's up to you. This year or last year, product for period. Again, it's period driven, guys. So it will give you your monetary value of stock up until the 30th of September. So it will include everything that's happened the whole year. But it's like if you only include March, it's only going to show you up until the 31st of March. You can show zero quantity items in case you feel there's something wrong. And you can include unposted quantities if you wish. And then you can have a look and actually check what your valuation is. So this says that my whole range, my current stock value is 600,000. And then I can go and have a look at that against my control accounts and see what the variance is. You can either use last cost or average cost, depending on which one you select. Depends on how great the variance between your control and your inventory valuation will be. And guys, just something quick on that. Unless your cost price stays the same the whole time you are selling inventory, you will always have a variance between your control account and your valuation. The reason for that is when you purchase items, it writes to your general ledger not an average cost, but the actual cost to your inventory control account. So it's going, okay, this is the actual amount that I bought the stock for. When you sell your items and it takes that stock out of your control account, it's taking it out at an average. Now, there are multiple other reasons why there will be a variance, but there's normally a small variance between the two. And, you know, depending on how much stock, monetary-wise, the value of your stock you have, if you've got 1 million, it might be a couple of thousand, 10,000 or so variance. If, however, you have 50,000 variance, that is not normal. And then you have a problem and you need to look into it. But the chances of your inventory valuation and your control accounts actually being the same are very little, and that's actually just mathematically. It's logical why it doesn't always work out, guys. So there is normally a little variance. It's not a big deal. If there's a huge variance, though, you need to look into it, and there are reasons for that. If you have that problem, please feel free to let me know. I'm happy to share some of the other reasons why there'll be a variance, but a slight variance, the reason for that is exactly as I've explained. Then, guys, you'll print labels. You can print inventory or serial number labels. So these are basically your barcodes that you're going to stick on. Or you might just want little labels, but generally, here, code, start, end, and then label form, file. So normally you would go and select what you want. And you would then select which one. So, for example, iLab or I think it is iLab. So iLab bark or iLabel, depending on what you want to print. And then that is what it will use. Quantity to print, how many do you want to print? From store to store, do you want to use the item code as a barcode? If you've entered a barcode on your item, you will not want to tick this. You will want it to use a barcode. But if you haven't and you still want to be able to scan, you can use the item code as a barcode. Your barcode printer will then still pick it up, and you can still use a scanner. Then your serial numbers, this is if you want to print your serial numbers and stick them on your items so that you know which serial number belongs to which individual unit. Pretty self-explanatory, that one. Your listings will show you, you can view your listings by items, so it'll give you all of your items in a list, your groups. These are all of the groups you have. Guys, something with groups that I forgot to mention. If you are going to create groups, please don't create it with spaces. Please make sure they're one after the other. If you create them with spaces, your reporting will not work, because the moment there's a space, it'll see it as ended, and it will only give you the information up until the first blank description. Do not have blank descriptions. You put them one after the other. You don't go, I'm going to put these 5, then I'm going to have 3 little blanks, then I'm going to put these 5 because I want to group my groups that way. No, one after the other, otherwise you're going to have reporting issues. Categories, stores and preferred supplier listing. The stores and preferred supplier listing are unique to partner. So guys, it's just a list for you to have a look at. Inventory cross-store tab. So guys, this is again to do with multi-stores, and you can print to Microsoft Excel or ASCII. It will give you various information that I will take you through when we do multi-stores. Print labels using Microsoft Word. You can do that. It is a little bit trickier. And your inter-store transfer. Again, it's to do with your stores. So instead of you having to do an customer invoice to Cape Town store to take the goods out of Joburg and give it to Cape Town, you just do a inventory transfer. It's unique to multi-stores. You would select the from store, the to store, and then you can print your transfer documents, or you can view your transfer report. So guys, there are things that I will go in detail when I actually do those add-on modules. Inventory has the most add-on modules for it: serial number tracker, multi-stores, and bill of materials. The bill of materials or manufacturing is not included in your inventory reports as your serial numbers and your multi-stores are. It is separate, but it is also one of the inventory add-on modules. So that's if you do manufacturing. Guys, does anyone have any questions on anything I've taken you through? That is basically inventory in a nutshell, and the way to get the most out of your inventory, with a few tips and tricks thrown in there to avoid certain pitfalls. Guys, if you do have any questions, please let me know now. I will be uploading this webinar probably, hopefully by the latest close of business on Tuesday. I will also be updating the webinars that I will be doing, and I am going to start with add-on modules. So I probably am going to do things like bank manager, bank feeds, multi-stores, multi-currency, that type of thing. We're going to start going through all of the add-on modules. So please look out for those. And then guys, I'm going to also upload a supporting document called Inventory Calculations. So this will show you how Sage works out calculations for inventory. I just want to show you guys what that looks like. If you do have questions, please post them to me now. Can't remember where I put that. So guys, I know if any of you attended the last one, or it was a few back, I did send this specifically because people asked for it, but it was actually meant to be included in this specific webinar. And guys, here you can actually see the calculations, and this is how Pastel works them out. So this is how it works out gross profit. It's sales minus costs, and then I give an example of it. Markup is sales minus costs. Average cost, how it works it out, and you can see the examples and how that equations are worked out. So guys, I will upload that as well for you. Otherwise, that's basically it for this webinar. As I advised, we will be going through add-on modules. If there are no questions, you are welcome to end your session, and I will upload that by close of business on Tuesday. Thank you so much for attending, and I hope that you have a wonderful weekend. Okay, so guys, a question that I've got is, can we advise on deleting the inventory assistant? Sorry, I totally forgot about that. Thank you so much for reminding me. So guys, sorry, that's actually something new to Sage 50C, and I actually covered that when I did the Sage 50C. But now, very similar to your customers and suppliers, you've got delete inactive inventory items. And I just want to check, is this what you are referring to? So guys, there are specific things that you need to make sure are done in order for these to be deleted. So just because you select this and go next, does not mean that it'll happen. So basically, it will tell you what those conditions are. Firstly, you will need a deleted item. And this is where it will put that history of the items for that moment, same as it puts for customers and suppliers. You can create your own if you like. And then you need to actually say where the inventory was inactive from. So you've neither bought nor sold this item since this date, and you would consider this item for deletion. And you would need to put a date here. So you would need to say, for example, okay, anything that I haven't sold and from, for example, the 31st of July. Before you do this, though, please make sure you have a backup, because once you've done this, you can't undo it. All of that history will be changed. So make sure you've got a backup. Say next, and the replacement item, okay, would you like to create it now because it doesn't exist? You say yes, or you can create one. If the date falls within the current financial year, it's going to tell you to select earlier. It will not allow you. One of the conditions is that you cannot delete inventory in the current financial year. So you would have to say, for example, the 31st of the 7th, 2018. Sorry guys, 18. You cannot delete inventory in the current financial year. If that works, it will then give you a list of items that actually meet the specification. So you haven't bought and you haven't sold in that period, and it will then tell you this is where this inventory is. It is deletable. And you can then select to delete those items or not. So based on the list provided, you would then tick or untick. If the item that you're looking for is not being shown, either it has history for the current financial year, it has not met the specifications, and I do have the specifications, guys. I just want to double check them quickly because I did actually forget get that. I'm actually training someone else to do this just so that you all are aware. So pretty soon you may not be listening to me anymore. So guys, I do have a document on this, but to my knowledge, the inventory items have to have a zero balance. So they need to be zero. You can't, they won't actually come up if they don't have zero. You know, they have to fall within last year. There can't be history in this year. If you make them zero in this year, then you will need to wait. You'll need to block them. I will send all of those specifications, but basically the list will come up based on the specific specifications, and you then select what you want to delete. Once you've selected what you want to delete, you'll click on OK, and sorry, I thought that I had selected, my bad. Sorry, you have to click on selected. It'll tell you it's deletable. You click on selected, and then you click on OK. And it will tell you these are the items that are going to be deleted. You need to confirm that you've made a backup. So guys, if, for example, an item disappears, we are going to check history because it will tell us that you told us that you made a backup. The fact that that item is gone, we're sorry because you can't undelete it. You can't reverse this process. You have to have a backup. And then you'll say yes, and it will tell you that it's deleted. You can then start again, or you can click on finish. It's actually that simple. If the items are not showing, it means that they don't have a zero balance, or they actually have transactions in this year, and that you're going to have to wait. To my knowledge, I think those are the only things that it has to have no movement. It has to be zero. So it basically has to be inactive. Other than that, I don't think that there are many specifications other than you cannot delete in the current financial year. But the article that I wrote on that, and I'm sorry, I do need to be honest, I did write it quite a few months ago, and I forgot that that was part of inventory. I'm so sorry. When I was prepping, I did all the other prep work. I will have to double check it for you and let you know. I will include that as part of the additional documents. But that is how the process works. Is that what you were looking for? The rest of it I will confirm for you, and it will be in that document. Sorry, guys, that was bad on my side, lack of preparation. Please forgive me. I'm not normally that unprepared, but I will make sure that I do answer that question adequately. Otherwise, guys, are there any other questions with regards to the inventory? Look, it is a lovely feature that deletes inactive items. Previously, you would have to go and delete them one by one. And that could be very difficult because you would have to actually physically go and delete history, and then you would have to sit and delete them one by one by one. This way, you can actually select a range, and it makes it much faster. But basically what it's doing is it's deleting history up to a certain point, and they have forbidden you from doing it in this year at this point in time. That's to ensure that your activity actually balances correctly. So I can tell you the reasons for certain of the restrictions. Otherwise, guys, if everyone's happy and there are no further questions, just let me know. You're welcome to log out, and I will send an update on the delete inactive items to you.